Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Vintown, the Vintown Mariners podcast, back for another episode, the number one Mariners podcast, recorded in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, at my house. Yeah, it's trade deadline time. Trade deadline's over. Finally, we can all move on with our lives. We can all just lock into this team as it is. I'm excited to do that. Honestly, like no more shorthandedness, no more anything. Just like these are the guys. They're the ones that are going to do it or not do it. It's a weird trade deadline because it's like probably the best in team history, but it's also like very disappointing in certain ways. Like I would probably give it a solid B, maybe B minus, not a B plus, but still like probably one of the greatest deadlines in Mariners history, and that just shows like where the offense was at, where the team is at, and like what they how much work they needed to do. So yeah, the big thing, the big name is Randy Arozarena. Mariners get one of the basically 10 coolest players in all of baseball. Just like so much swag, so much coolness. Just like the ultimate guy that you want on your team. Like you want, like not as a GM or a manager, but like as a fan. You it's much more fun to root for Randy than it is for Luke Raley. Even though like I love Luke Raley, it's like much more fun to root for Randy than it is for Ty France or Shinsuchu or whoever. Like he has so much energy, so much life. He makes it look fun. He does exciting things. He's just like the guy that you want to have. Um, and we and now the Mariners have him, and that's awesome. I think he's going to really help in a lot of ways. Uh, I think in the past I was down on him, the idea of him, but that was like, and I saw a lot of other people do this too, so I don't like feel bad about it. But I just looked at his year to date stats. You know, he had like the worst April May of like almost like any hitter, like worse than Mitch Haniger has been, and that dragged everything down. But then from May or in the middle of May, he changed his approach. He was trying to do something different. It wasn't working, and now he's been back hitting like the guy that you know he is, and he's been amazing. And that's like one thing that I did want when the Mariners do a trade is I wanted them to get guys who are hitting well. A lot of people are throwing around like Bichette or even someone like Paul Goldschmidt. It's like those guys are having shitty years. Like, I don't want guys who are having bad years. I want guys who are hot and can get this team hot the rest of the way. So that was nice. That's nice that that's what they actually did. They got a guy who's hitting well and who really fits a need in this lineup. I love Julio. I love Cal, but I don't think it's fair for Cal to have to hit third or fourth all the time. Like he should hit like fifth or lower. Like he's a great player, but like for what he does for the team on the other side and his skill set, like he doesn't need to be relied upon as like you are the creator, you are the key to the offense. Like he is a huge plus, but he shouldn't have to be the key to the offense, if that makes sense. Um, but yeah, the lineup will look really interesting. I think when he's back, when Julio's back, you'll have JP, Julio, Randy, Justin Turner, and then you can go Cal. Then you can go Luke Raley. Then you can go Polanco. Like all those guys, their career, they made their names hitting fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. So then they get to be in that spot, and then they're um, they are like above average for that spot. That's what they're good at. They're not like a secret three hitter. The Twins haven't had this secret like number three hitter on their team all this time. They've had a really good guy who hits like sixth or seventh or fifth. Anyway, getting a little in the weeds, but yeah, Randy's awesome. Randy is like the exact guy you want on your team. He's so much fun, and I'm glad they got him. And that alone would be right there with Castillo as like the best Mariners trade deadline pickup ever. Like he's right there with him. They had to give up and they had to give up a lot more when they gave up Castillo. They gave up a higher level prospects, which is like a whole other thing that I do not care about, but is like a story of this deadline. Like, oh, there wasn't a single top 100 prospect traded, but there also wasn't. Like, Randy's probably the best hitter to move. Like, after that, who's next? Like, I can't even think of who is next after him as like best hitter. Probably Justin Turner, really. Um, it's like teams don't want to don't want to make moves. They don't want to make a decision. The Blue Jays, they think they could still do something with Vlad on their team, and I said this before, but that's smart. They should have done that. They should try to re-sign him. Right now in baseball, all these teams, they think exactly the same. So nobody wants to just let another team win. Let a team win a trade. Like, okay, we'll give you more than this is worth. Like, it's all like, well, we all have computed that this is what this would be worth. It would be worth this prospect, this prospect, and this prospect. So that's the deal. Would you take it? Yes or no? There's no like blowing someone away with an offer. There's nothing like that. It's just like very like, hey, we need to save money. Okay, we have money to spend. Okay, how much prospect versus how much contract, whatever. It's all just like that. It's not like teams trying to win, trying to get better. Um, of the teams who did stuff, I really think the Mariners did the best of other teams. I'll be interested to see what some of the like quote unquote grades are. Even though those like mean nothing, like what means something is if they win the division. Um, but yeah, Randy, great guy, and then they turn around and they go Justin Turner, and this is another guy where I was like, I don't know if I want him. He doesn't have the power that he used to. He's not quite the hitter he used to be, but he's also like Justin Turner. Like the whole like swing revolution is like Justin Turner and JD Martinez. Like he turned his career from nothing into like he's he's made over $100 million in baseball, and he just hits the ball hard. He is very consistent. That's one thing that I really liked about getting him is like Ty France would have a week with one hit, and I don't think Justin Turner will go more than 2 days ever. Especially with they give him rest, they treat his body right. He's 39 years old, but this guy can still hit. Like he doesn't hit for as much power anymore, but he can hit. He has like a very slow bat speed. It doesn't matter. He knows like how to turn on a pitch. He knows like what pitches to swing at. He doesn't. He's one of the league leaders in pitches per plate appearance, which now the Mariners have like 3 of the top 5, which is like amazing. Like JP, France, or not JP. Okay, sorry, I pulled it up. Justin Turner second in the league, pitches per plate appearance. JP Crawford fourth. Randy Arozarena is sixth. So it's like I think the Mariners play at their very best when they take a lot of pitches, they see a lot of pitches, they chase the starter early from the game. Like that's the way that they win. They have the good starter. He goes deep. The other team, their starter does not. And the Mariners clean up on the bullpen. It's nice if they're able to score runs before that. But like that's the way they've won the last 2-3 years. It's always been like that. So to have guys like this who see a lot of pitches, who like make the pitcher work, let their team see like everything that this guy's got, it's like an amazing move. And then that's before you just think about Justin Turner as like unofficial hitting coach on the team. Like everyone in baseball knows him, knows what he's done, knows his pedigree, and knows like that he did it himself. Like that he went to a swing coach and he found a new approach, and he just like gets it. He knows what he needs to do, and he executes it. And that's like I think that would be such a help to this Mariners team. Like I would rather have Julio talking to Justin Turner about hitting than whatever the hitting coach he has. I'd rather JP talk to him. I'd rather Mitch Haniger. Maybe he can like help Mitch Haniger. Like that would be amazing because he's doing it with like a really low bat speed. So like if he can give tips and help people, you look at the Red Sox who the Mariners played. Everyone is like so happy to see him, and you know that he helped those guys. He helped a lot of guys on that team become better hitters, and they have a pretty good offense. It's a lot better than the Mariners this year. So I'm just hoping that like any little bit of that could rub off, and I really think it will. But even if it doesn't, he is such a huge upgrade over Ty France. He is, proven. He's a likable guy. Another likable guy. I didn't. I don't know. I don't want to say I didn't like it, but I was disappointed that Vlad wasn't coming. Because they really made it seem like it was going to happen. But I got to go back to what I originally said. It was never going to happen. Maybe they'll talk. Maybe they. But I really think if the Mariners said, "Hey, name your price," that they still wouldn't have named it. I think Ross Atkins knows that he would probably not be employed much longer if Vlad wasn't there. That's a fire me move, in my opinion. Even if you're doing it for the right reasons or the good of the franchise or whatever, like that's not a move that you make if you want to be employed long term. And maybe that's the problem with a lot of these GMs. Like they all are so afraid of that they don't, actually do moves, like dynamic moves. But with Vlad, I would think he's an exception. Just like if even if, like imagine a scenario where Julio wasn't re-signed. Like, would you want people talking about trading him because the Astros have a 1 game lead, or next season if they're not in first place, like, oh, maybe they should look at trading Julio. Like, no, it's just no. Like that's I know it's like value over everything and like cracking the GM code of baseball and all this crap like that, but like what the Rays do, it sucks. And I don't understand why people want to be more like that. Like that's bad for fans. Like I know it's not the greatest stadium and it's in a bad spot or whatever. But like there's also no one you can like build a connection with. Like Randy was that guy. But like, oh, he might make $12 million next year, so we can't do that. We have to let go of him. It's like, get it together. I don't know. Like it's just very tech bro, very Bitcoin cryptocurrency. Like it's just all you guys think you're all so smart, and the most obvious thing in the world would be just like, hey, let's build connections with these players, with these teams. Like, do you think if the early 2000s Mariners existed in this context, like would Ichiro have been traded in like 2004, 2003? Like I know it wasn't that long after that, but it's still not. That would have been the worst thing for this franchise, for my fandom, for so many things. Like, yeah, they didn't win shit during that time, but at least you had Ichiro. At least you had Ichiro. I think with the 3 wild cards, teams are going to be so hesitant to trade stars like Vlad, but at the same time, that Randy Rosarena rule is gonna like where it's gonna be only 1 year left or only a year and a half left and we're out of contention. Let's get our value now instead of just like trying to resign somebody or whatever. It's like I get it, but if you got a star and you think you can keep them, you should keep them to the bitter end. That's all I gotta say about that. So anyway, let's go back to the Mariners. These 2 upgrades, instant improvement to the offense. Like in a way that it doesn't seem like it's enough, but it's so much. The Mariners also add a reliever, Jimmy Garcia, who's been great so far. He looks like he's going to be great. And that was what they needed to do, and that's what they did. They saw their JG Chargois. I don't think he's going to be a very high leverage guy, but another guy with major league experience, quality talent that can just be called upon, be relied upon, which they haven't always had. So, all the moves they made, I like. What I don't like is the moves that they didn't make. I was beating on the drum for Ahmed Rosario. I don't know why they didn't do it. The Dodgers got him for 1 player. A lot of people were saying Paul DeJong of the Guardians. No, of the White Sox. he went to the Royals. Again, it was like for one player, and it's not like the elite prospect. Now, I know the Mariners don't like to give up value for a rental, but like these are guys that it wasn't a lot of value. And you have this hole in your team. Like Jason Vossler is on the roster right now. JP Crawford is out 4 to 6 weeks. And then so you got Jason Vossler on the roster. On the roster. Jason Vossler on the roster. And then you've got Luis Rivas, who apparently Scott does not trust to play. The Mariners are up 4 runs today, and they pulled him. And it's like, why? He's a better defender at shortstop than Dylan Moore. And, you got a big enough lead where you don't need to get that bat out of there. So so it's like they're not going to trust him to handle so get someone in there you do trust. Get someone who's done it before. JP's going to be out for like a while, supposedly. So why aren't you trying to fill that spot? Then you also have the right side of the third place platoon. Dylan Moore is doing great, but he's playing every day right now. And I don't think he thought he'd be playing every day. So, those are a couple guys who are hitting really well. Rosario's hitting 300. DeYoung has 18 home runs. Like, you can tell me the Mariners couldn't have used that for a bench bat, for a utility guy? Like, come on. That wouldn't have been much to give up, and they just didn't do it. So that's like where I'm mostly disappointed, is they probably could have got one more bat. As I always say, you can only complain about the players that were traded. Because if you say, oh, they could have got Yandy Diaz, well, maybe there's a reason they didn't. Well, for one, apparently Randy and Yandy's wife hate each other, and like that was a big source of contention with them on the team in Tampa Bay. That sounds crazy, but I don't know. He's probably like, hey, you guys might not want to do this. I don't know. Maybe that happened. But then he also didn't get traded. He did not get traded. Brandon Lau didn't get traded. A lot of guys didn't get traded. Luis Rengifo, Brenton Rooker, they didn't get traded. So you can't be like, oh, why didn't they get them? Why didn't they blow away? Why didn't they blow those teams away with an offer? Like maybe they did. Like these teams like don't want to move players. They don't move them. So, but I just think that there was a hole in this roster that was cheap, that was able to be filled cheaply, and I think they could have filled it with one of those types of guys. But ultimately, it's a better offense. It is. Like imagine the offense when what's it going to be? What are they going to do with JP? Because JP has not been hitting well this season. So is it going to be literally like Robles, Julio, Randy, Justin Turner, Cal, Polanco, and then, Rayleigh, Haniger, JP, maybe JP ninth back where he started from. And like that's Rojas down it, like it's interesting because I can make an argument that's the best way that they could set up their lineup. Like I know JP is a big part of this team, but I think I would like that version of the lineup a lot better than if it was JP leading off, and then Julio, and then Randy, or switch those two, whatever. Then Turner. I think I would rather have get those guys in the lineup as soon as possible. But we got a while to get there, so it's just interesting to think about, though. But yeah, like I said, you can only be mad about the names that were traded that the Mariners didn't get them, and those are the two names that I'm mad about that they didn't get. Jerry had a quote. He says, there's more smoke than fire. The biggest names that were floated out there, he wasn't sure how available they ever really were. And that's because those big names didn't get moved. Whether that's Luis Robert, Vlad, Brent Rooker, whoever, like they didn't get moved. So yeah, it would have been nice for them to get them, but they didn't get moved, so they didn't get moved. And then I'm like shocked that Jerry didn't say that, hey, we feel like the way Jorge Polanco has been hitting, we already got the best trade acquisition. When we get JP and Julio back from injury, that's going to be better than any other team's trade acquisition. I'm sorry I didn't say something like that, but like it's really true. Like between Polanco, Robles, and then those two coming back, like they might have got more surplus value than like any other team at the deadline. I did find this quote by Jerry annoying, though. He feels like he said, we feel like we're in a more meaningful position as opposed to any of the last 3 years. Because this year, when we have an opportunity to go win a division, no, because this year we have an opportunity to go win a division. And that's very different than playing for a second or third wild card in a lot of ways. So we took it serious. I mean, I know what the standings were at the trade deadline last year, but they could have won the division last year. They could have. Like maybe Seawald was the only guy that they had that they could trade, but they could have done more last year, and everyone knew it. And if they had, they could have won the division. So don't give me that shit just because this year, a statistically worse team so far, oh, we have to go for it this year. Like, he just says stuff, and like last episode, I was talking about how washed he is, and I guess I have to say he's not washed because he did some great trades and supposedly didn't give up too much value, but like I care at all. Like I care about winning. The team needs to care about winning, and that's all I should really care about. I don't care who is going to be the second baseman in 5 years. I don't care. But, if that's what you care about is winning, then he did good moves to make them more likely to win the division. And right now, I think they should be the favorite to win the division. So, is Jerry Dipoto washed? I'll say no for now. I do think that I was right about a lot of things, though, because this is what he does best: bargain shops and blockbuster trades. So just do that. Just do that instead. Stop trying to sign like a mid-tier free agent. You're not good at that. Develop pitching. You're great at that. Make a blockbuster trade for Randy Arozarena every year, and we're good. We're good. You can stay forever. They made good moves. Like, this is probably the best Mariners deadline ever, and the fact that it's not a slam dunk A plus, that just shows how bad they were at all the other stuff they did. But finally, I mentioned a moment ago, the best acquisition of the year, like the thing that is going to turn this entire season around. His name is Victor Robles. He's the man. Like, he's hitting over like 400 right now. He's just destroying the ball. He's playing good defense in center. He has energy. He has speed. Like, he's going to get himself paid off of this. And I don't think it's going to be by the Mariners, but it's like pretty cool that they're going to have him the rest of the year. And that you have to give credit to. You have to give credit to the front office for getting him, and you have to give credit to the coaching staff because Shannon Dreyer had an article where she interviewed Robles and she interviewed Service and Jarrett DeHart, and Jarrett DeHart saw something and told him he was using his hips too much and use his legs more in his swing, and then now he's hitting like this. Like, is it a small sample size? Is it luck? Yes, of course. But like, these guys know what they're doing. They're smart, so you can't just say, hey, these are the worst hitting coaches in the league because the 35-year-old men that we brought in, like, they have been striking out a ton. Like, no. Like, this is what they should be judged on. This is a player who was willing to work with a hitting coach, didn't have his own hitting coach, had struggles somewhere else, and their input directly led to his success. Is it going to last? I don't know. But do I care? I do not. It needs to last until Julio's back. It needs to last until October when they raise the trophy, Like, after that, I don't care. But like right now, it's great. And it's the kind of move that they should have been making all along, because it's the kind of move that is paying off in just the hugest way. Like, even this might be hyperbolic, but even if Garver had played to what he hit last season, it would not pay off to this level. Like, that would be, oh, thankfully we got nearly the production we're paying for. Great job. This is like blowing up in a way that, like, these are the kind of moves that are going to get Jerry extended. Like, if he hits this well, he continues to hit this well. and they just did a waiver claim on him, or they signed him as a free agent or whatever. So I was never going to give up on this team. I noticed last episode that I had said something and got caught off, and then the second half of my sentence didn't. So it was kind of weird. But what I had said last time, which is last year the Arizona Diamondbacks made the World Series at 84 and 78. That's something that happened. I think the Mariners are better than that. But this team, with these moves, can win this division. And it doesn't matter what their record is. They're in the playoffs. And then they have probably the best 1, 2, 3 starters in all of baseball. And one of the best closers. And then 2 probably elite setup men in Garcia and Santos. And then they have a real lineup now. They have a real lineup. Julio, whenever he comes back, will finish the season strong. He will be dangerous. Jorge Polanco is finally hitting like the guy that they thought they were going to get. Not just hitting, not like actually producing, but like he looks like he knows what he's doing at the plate, and he's hitting the ball hard, even when he gets out. Victor Robles looks like a real guy. Justin Turner is one of the most consistent clutch guys there is. Randy Arozarena is like the clutchest guy in the history of the playoffs. And then you have Cal, who just only hits clutch home runs. This team is set up so perfectly. They just have to finish the regular season strong ahead of the Astros, and then it is game on. It is game on. I am extremely excited about this team. I think they're going to be really good the rest of the way, and I think they're going to win the division. If it comes down to a game against the Astros where Kikuchi pitches, and got to take him deep. Hey, that's just what it's going to have to be. Like today, James Paxton. Hey man, love you. When you were Big Maple, that was one of my favorite individual player seasons in Mariner history. When he was just going out there every time and just 8 innings, 1 run. That was amazing. But guess what? I don't care. They came out today and they needed to win and they beat him up. Blame some of the defense on that, but they hit him hard. It doesn't matter. It's going to be a real take no prisoner situation. And I'm really high on this team. I really think the front office did a great job. They're not totally off the hook, but they did what they had to do. They put this team in position to win going forward. And I think they're going to. I really do. So I do have some other stuff I want to talk about, but that's enough for today. I think the Mariners' rest of the season schedule looks really nice. There's the Phillies and the Mets. They are at home. The Giants, that's also at home. The Rays are not a serious team anymore. You got the Tigers, you got the Pirates, you got the Angels, and you got a lot of games against the Athletics, Rangers, and Astros. Rangers, if they're out, hey, good. If they're not, they're not that good of a team anyway. They have a 95 WRC plus as a team. They're right there with the Mariners for offensive utility this season, and they don't have a good excuse. But anyways, yeah. I like the schedule the rest of the season. I like the team they're going to put out there the rest of the season. Basically, this first game with Justin Turner, that's the first game of the rest of the year. And it went great, and I think a lot of them are going to go great going forward. So that's all I have for the day. Until next time, I'm Vintown. Go M's.